Welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada. It's the city that never sleeps and where some dreams come true. Our points leader, Dennis Setzer, is dreaming of his first points championship. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, next.
In this place, there are players. Players willing to take a risk. In this place, there's risk and reward. And sometimes it's the luck of the draw, the perfect hand, the perfect number, the perfect conditions. Las Vegas. It's time to ride, time to drive. The challenge, fierce, at times unreasonable. The journey long, at times difficult, maybe painful. Then the battle must begin again. A different hand is dealt, and the risk begins again. The Las Vegas 350 is next.
Just north of the Strip, where fortunes are won and lost. One driver who has his fortune here at Las Vegas is the driver of the Orleans, Steve Parton, being introduced to the crowd, as well as Johnny Benson. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is presented by Craftsman. Beautiful evening in the desert, the wind blowing down the backstretch, pretty brisk. Temperature currently 85 degrees, but that will drop as the sun goes down. Heating up in the Ford top 10 point standings, Dennis Setzer back on the winning way as he was able to add 10 points to his points lead over Ted Musgrave, bringing it up to 59. Only two drivers switching positions from last week, Jimmy Spencer and Mike Skinner. 7 of those top 10 have won this season.
In 1998, the Truck Series set what seemed to be a record unreachable in the years to come. 14 different winners found victory lane in the 98 season before Ron Hornaday walked away with his second career championship. Enter the 2005 season, where the parity in the series raised the bar yet again. On any given track, a slew of drivers have a chance to walk away victorious. Now with 13 winners and 6 races remaining, the 98 record can not only be matched, but broken. He's getting ready to wrap up the Rookie of the Year points lead, but you're still looking for a victory. Todd Cleaver has 2 second-place finishes. Can you get it done today at Vegas? What's it going to take?
I think so. Our World Financial Group Ford F-150 is really good. This is, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen on a mile-and-a-half racetrack. We've run really good on those. What better place to do it than here in Las Vegas? I want to give a shout-out to all the people at Shell. They're based in Houston, Texas, and just want them to know we're thinking of them. Hope everything's going well today and tomorrow and for what they're going to go through. So wishing them well, but hopefully tonight's going to be the night. We'd like to win one for them.
All right, good luck to you. Another guy looking for his first victory of 2005 is Jimmy Spencer, who got into a little bit of trouble last week.
1 week ago in New Hampshire, things got a little crazy between the 2 and the 30. Shortly after spinning Todd Bodine in turn 4 of the last lap, Mike Hillman, the team manager for the 30 truck, wanted to let Mr. Excitement know how he felt about the contact. And crew chief Dan Glass also got a piece of the action. As the discussion continued, the two exchanged some heated words before they were split apart by crew members and NASCAR officials. Tonight in Las Vegas, I'll bet you this feud is not quite over. And earlier this evening here, we had the drivers' meeting, of course. Everyone was around, and series director Wayne Otten said, no retribution tonight. Jimmy, I think he was looking right at you and Todd Bodine whenever he was talking about that.
Yeah, I think New Hampshire really last week was really interesting. It started out in the Truck Series and carried over Sunday to the Nextel Cup Series, and I think NASCAR was upset with the way a lot of drivers handled themselves. And I think that was just a message that guys, you know, we're professionals. We don't need to be doing stuff like that. So we all got the message, I believe, and they want us to race and race like Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart did last week. It was an awesome race, and that's what NASCAR expects out of us.
Great qualifying effort today. Jimmy Spencer will roll off pretty close to the number 30 truck, and I believe Wendy is up front with Todd.
Todd Bodine was the other guy involved in that incident last week. What did you think about what happened and what was said in the drivers' meeting today?
Well, at the time, I still don't appreciate it. You know, it wasn't good racing, but you know, it is racing. Things happen. You know, I know Jimmy didn't do it on purpose. You know, these things happen. I mean, he had a fast truck and he was trying to get a good finish. It's the best he'd run all year, and you just water over the dam. You know, put it behind you, go on and race. You know, you can't go out here with vengeance and try to go after somebody will get hurt. So, you know, we put it behind us and go on. And, you know, NASCAR being as proactive as they are, they said something to us and warned us, and, you know, we'll heed the warning and we'll be good about it.
Todd Bodine had a great truck here last year at Vegas. He was one of the fastest trucks, but he got beat out by fresh tires on Shane Meals' truck. Rick?
Well, a year ago, nearly 70,000 filed into the Las Vegas Motor Speedway to enjoy NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing in a city that's known for its shows. The Craftsman Truck Series is about to put on one of the best.
And it's a black top, white lines, hazard lights on the warning signs. I want the rush of 100 mile an hour love.
Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show was brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Speaking of tough, last week at Loudon, New Hampshire, one of the toughest was Rick Crawford, coming home claiming his 4th career win. Able to take the checkered flags. It had been over a year since he was in victory lane. That came at Martinsville at the beginning of the 04 season. And now Ray Dunlap has caught up with Rick Crawford.
Well, thank you, Rick. You know, we know that this guy was pretty good a week ago. Is it possible to make it back-to-back?
Well, this is double down weekend for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, so I almost bet on myself to win tonight, but Circle Bar Truck Crowd Ford struggling just a little bit, but I think crew chief Kevin Starlin make some good changes on it tonight. We did for qualifying. It got us in the top 15, so hey, we'll have a good night and a good race, and can put the fans on a great show like we did last weekend.
Now, it had been quite a few races since you had been in victory lane at Martinsville, and tell me about the process that you went through from a driver. Now you're a winner this week. You get to walk around the garage saying, I'm the most recent guy to go to victory lane.
That didn't last very long, did it? No, we lasted 4 or 5 days. Now we're back racing again, so the slate's clean. It could be a different winner this week, but I'll try to put this Circle Bar forward in victory lane.
All right, we wish you good luck. The last guy to go back-to-back was Mike Skinner, and I believe Wendy has caught up with him.
I would have put my money on who was going to sit on the pole today. It would have been Mike Skinner, and hey, it would have paid off because this is your 5th pole this season. We know this truck is good in qualifying trim. How is it going to be in race trim tonight?
You know, all the other poles that we got this year, the truck was awesome. Today we really struggled in practice. I think Jeff Hensley and the guys just did a good job. New sticker tires, new Goodyear tires. It held really good for 1 lap, but second lap it wasn't near as good. But you know, we'll see what happens. Hopefully the weather plays into it a little bit and we can get a little grip out of this racetrack.
Speaking of the weather, we've documented it's been pretty windy here in Vegas today. How is that affecting the track and the grip on the trucks?
Windy, I think at the start of practice it affects it quite a bit, but once all the trucks get going and you know gets the dust blown off of it, I don't think it's a big deal. I know one thing, if you get up out of that groove, it's going to be big.
All right, we'll watch for Mike Skinner tonight. I think Ray Dunlap's caught up with our lead points man.
I have Wendy, and that would be Dennis Setzer, and he has driven this exact chassis that he's got here tonight at Las Vegas to 2 victories already this season. Dennis, we know it's a good truck, but starting 22nd, what's up with that?
We got a little loose qualifying there, but Eric assures me it'll be a lot better when the race starts, and we'll be good with our Silverado, I think.
Well, we've got to get away, sorry about that, because we need to now go trackside because it's about time for the pre-race ceremonies.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please stand and remove your hats. Tonight's invocation will be delivered by Speedway Chaplain Kenny Farmer. Please remain standing as Michael Austin of the hit band Thunder Road sings our national anthem.
Pray with me. Father, tonight we thank you for this day, for this beautiful racing facility that we're at. Father, we pray for these drivers and crews as they prepare to compete. Father, our thoughts and our minds are with those people in the Gulf states right now as they go through those hurricanes. Father, we just pray that you will be with each and every one of those families. We pray for our military that are around the world. They're giving their time and effort to give us the freedom that we have to enjoy this sport that we love. Father, we just ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Crowd enjoying the flyover taking place. Beautiful crowd on hand for tonight's race. The 20th race of the season for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
It's a black top, white lines, hazard lights and the warning signs. I want the rush of 100-mile-an-hour love.
Welcome back to Las Vegas, Nevada for race number 20 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And welcome to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Las Vegas 350 on Speed Channel. Hello everyone, I'm Rick Allen alongside of Phil Parsons and a newcomer to the booth, Hank Parker Jr. joining us tonight. Now, you've been with us a couple times, and we're glad to have you back. First of all, we want to talk about Dennis Setzer, though, because we've talked about him in numerous shows, and we thought we jinxed him, but Phil, has he changed his luck around now that we're in Vegas?
Well, Rick, he really has. He went through 3 bad races in a row, not of his making. He had 3 flat tires in consecutive races and lost like 178 points of his 227-point lead. Well, he came back with a vengeance at Loudon, had a great run. He was right on winner Rick Crawford's tailgate when the race ended. And the best part about that, his closest pursuer, Ted Musgrave, was right behind him, a gain of 10 points. But the biggest thing is it was a statement that I'm not going to go lightly. I'm going for this championship.
Well, and with the previous 3 races, him having problems and then last race fixing that, is this a place, a track like Las Vegas, where you want to almost be just coming off of bad luck?
Well, this is a very tricky racetrack. I mean, you've got wide sweeping corners, so handling is very key. I talked to a lot of guys who are having struggling with handling. He's starting back in 22nd, and, you know, with 59 points separating those 2 guys for the championship, neither one of them can afford a bad night tonight.
Well, Dennis Setzer and Ted Musgrave only separated by 59 points currently in the point standings, and they're not the only ones in this championship hunt. We mention them quite often, but there's still a few other drivers that are going to be involved in this championship hunt, and we can't count them out with 6 races to go.
Not at all. You've got Ron Hornaday, who's a proven championship guy. He can win a championship. Jimmy Spencer got back into the top 5, and he's a former winner in all 3 major series of NASCAR.
Well, let's see who Lady Luck will smile on tonight. We'll go down trackside for the famous command to get the engine started.
I'm so sick of all them TV.
All right, the lights are on and we are ready to get rolling down here. Now for the most famous words in racing, the Grand Marshal for tonight's Las Vegas 350, and he's brought a couple of friends with him. The Executive President of Pavestone, Bobby Staten.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines!
crowds are fired up, and the showmanship here at Las Vegas is definitely a factor tonight.
And just like that, Mike Henley, 36. NASCAR Craftsman Trucks.
Who will come out the winner in Vegas tonight? We'll find out.
Super Speedway. And it's going to be a great race tonight. The Las Vegas 350 will be.
I want the rush of 100 mile an hour
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed Channel is brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. By Ford F-150, built Ford tough. And by High Endurance Oils from Mobil, the official lubricants of NASCAR. In the desert, this mile-and-a-half track, some say was patterned after other mile-and-a-half tracks that we're familiar with going to, but this one a little bit slicker, they've been saying.
Well, it really is. This surface is 9 years old. The first race here was 1996, so there's a lot of racing and a lot of hot summers on this racetrack. You see the corners have 12 degrees of banking. Well, it's really like a flat track, Hank.
Well, it is, and it's very slick, you know, right here in this hot sun. And these guys, everybody that I've talked to, the crew chief said the drivers are going to be screaming for tires after about 30 laps.
Well, 36 trucks will be starting this as we look at our race analysis. 146 laps. It's called the Las Vegas 350. That is 350 kilometers, 219 miles.
You see the pit window is about 55 to 65 laps. Well, that's how far they can go on fuel. As Hank mentioned, most of the crew chiefs said the drivers are going to be crying for tires at about 30, 35 laps. So I think you'll see those guys probably shorten that pit window up if they can.
Let's look at our starting grid for tonight's race. On the front row, that's Mike Skinner's 22nd career pole. Bill Lester, oh so close to him, starting on his outside.
David Ruderman, already a winner this year, starts outside row number 2.
Jimmy Spencer there, you know, we talked about him earlier. He's got a fast truck.
There's a former winner, David Starr, starting outside row number 4 and here at this racetrack.
And back a couple, Brendan Gaughan, also a former winner at this racetrack. Starts on the outside of row 6.
There's Steve Park. What a sentimental victory that would be, driving the Orleans Dodge right here out of Las Vegas. His shop is a stone's throw from this racetrack.
As mentioned earlier, Dennis Setzer starting back 22nd. He's got a long way to catch up with Ted Musgrave, and he's looking for a good night. He always races well, so we'll look for him to move forward.
Brendan Lamar makes his first career start inside row number 12, and the second Kevin Harvick truck.
A couple other drivers making their first career starts. David Gilliland on the outside of row 15. He'll be making his first start in that number 15 tonight.
See Robert Presley struggle a bit in practice. He starts inside row number 16. And Joey Miller also making his first career start in the number 12 Darrell Waltrip Toyota.
Qualifying 36, the 02 of Kelly Sutton. She hopes to have a little better performance in her qualifying effort. Got very, very loose, and this is actually Kelly's birthday today, so we hope that she does better.
36 trucks were here. 36 trucks start. Nobody goes home. That's the good part.
Nobody goes home, but we do have a truck that is going to the rear, and that's the 77 of Brendan Gaughan and the 2 of Jimmy Spencer. Now, Brendan Gaughan had to change a motor after the first practice, so he didn't get out for any practice during our second practice today.
But if anybody knows this racetrack, it's Brendan. Again, he's from Las Vegas.
We're riding along with a few different trucks, one of those being the Power Stroke Diesel by International number 10 of Terry Cook. He'll start in the 17th position.
Johnny Benson, a Toyota Tundra out of Bill Davis' stable, starts 13th.
David Starr with a little bit different paint scheme than normal, so he's looking for a good run tonight. They qualified much better than what they thought they were. They made some adjustments and turned that thing around, so hopefully it'll run good.
We had so much fun watching Jimmy Spencer a week ago. We decided we'd ride along with him this week, so he'll start in the 6th position. We'll see how he does with that Team ASE Dodge. Out in front, the Craftsman Win from the Pole Award is available to Mike Skinner. He can win $12,000 for his team if he's able to win this race from the pole tonight. If he is not able to claim the top prize, another $2,000 is added until someone wins this award. Craftsman making $50,000 available to the teams this season. Let's head down trackside to Wendy Venerini.
David Starr has a win here at Las Vegas back in 2002. Now, he qualified 8th today. They made several changes to the truck during practice, but he feels like his truck is going to be okay for the race. I just spoke to Dave McCarty, who's standing right behind me, and he said, yeah, we probably will move up our window for pitting. If their caution comes out, well, you could see us come down pit road as early as lap 30, Ray?
Hey, Wendy, when you start talking about winners at mile-and-a-half tracks, you got to look at this guy right here. How about Brendan Gaughan? He's done it 5 times, 4 at Texas and 1 right here at Las Vegas. Now, Brendan is parked right beside his teammate, Steve Park. But the problem is his crew chief, Charlie Wilson, is not here tonight. His wife, Debbie, has apparently had a stroke. So Kevin has gone back to Bakersfield, California, or excuse me, Charlie, and Kevin Croyer, who is the engine builder for this team, will substitute as crew chief tonight. These two guys are parked right beside each other. Brendan Gaughan will have to go to the back of the field, but I think one of these two trucks could be one to watch, either the 62 or the 77.
We had a report that the 2 truck of Jimmy Spencer was going to go to the back. It's actually going to be the 02 of Kelly Sutton, although she was already back there, so she can't go any farther back than 36, so it's really no big deal for her. But Brendan Gaughan, the 77 truck, will have to go to the back of the pack to start this race.
You know, you mentioned Kelly Sutton earlier. Today was her birthday. You know, you're not ever supposed to ask a woman how old she is, but, you know, we've got her here on the spot. You know, we better not ask her during the race on the radio.
No, we won't do that. That's very good lesson that you've
Well, I was just nervous when you started talking about it's her birthday, if you're going to throw out a fact of her age or anything.
Another driver that's making his first start. We see the 24 there of Robert Richardson. This will be his first start in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Rick, we should have some radio communication with some of these drivers. Let's see if we can talk to the one of Ted Musgrave. Ted Musgrave, Phil Parsons, can you hear me?
Ready, careful.
Ted Musgrave, Phil Parsons, can you hear me?
Yeah, Phil, I can hear you.
All right, Ted, you're awfully good at this racetrack. You know how to get around there. The thing looked like it was pretty slippery all day. All the drivers were complaining about that. This track going to get a little more grip tonight?
You know, I'm not really too sure if that's really going to happen, Phil. The racetrack just doesn't have any grip at all, and I don't think the overcastness or the darkness is going to change that. At least that's what we're planning, but the Mopar team's got this fixed up where if it does turn that way, we can free this thing up.
You had a great qualifying effort in 5th, and you're the point leader, Dennis Setser's all the way back in 22nd. You need to gain a few points here, don't you?
Well, we're trying everything we can, Phil. Like you say, if we can break this thing down and set a line into Homestead and have a good championship battle, that's what we're looking for.
All right, Ted, have a good night.
In the 10 previous championship years for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, 9 seasons were separated determined during the last race of the season, and so only one of those was determined prior to the last race, and we expect this year we'll probably go back down to Homestead, Miami to determine the 2005 champion.
There's always a great battle in the Truck Series, and you know, people talk about the Nextel Cup chase and what a good thing it is, and the thing is, I don't think we need one in the Truck Series. As you mentioned, only one time in the 10-year history has it not gone down to the final race. A couple years ago, it took 15 minutes after the final race to determine the winner.
In my opinion, this is the best racing out here. I mean, I love to watch the trucks, and I love my experience being in them, but these guys race hard every week, and it always comes down to the end of the year with the points. I mean, last year and the last couple of years it's been between more than 2 drivers, so it's always really exciting at the end of the race at Homestead.
I believe that's why there's such a great crowd on hand here at Las Vegas, because of the great racing that the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series puts on week in and week out. Out in front, it is Mike Skinner and Bill Lester. Randy Kaiser takes the pace truck down pit road, and so Mike Skinner will lead the field to the green flag, and we're going to be underway with the Las Vegas 350.
Bill Lester gets a great start right there. You know, Mike Skinner talked about getting up in the loose stuff. You know, these first couple laps is going to be very important. Make sure you don't get up in that loose stuff. The groove will move up eventually.
Caught a glimpse of Matt Crafton and made it 3 wide, getting in turn number 1. You see him there in the very bright Dago yellow number 88 Chevrolet.
He's not worried about that loose stuff. He's going on with it.
Well, 3 wide as they go into 3 and 4. The fans still on their feet watching, holding their breath as they come out of turn number 4 for our first lap.
Mike Skinner will lead him down to lead that first lap and get 5 bonus bonus points. Look at Bobby Hamilton, the 0-4, right down on the apron of the racetrack, racing David Starr, the 75 Spears truck.
Bobby Hamilton in our first practice today was the fastest truck on the track, so we know he's got a good Dodge underneath him. We'll see how he can work his way through the traffic and get up toward the front.
See the Mopar Dodge of Ted Musgrave, number 1 on the inside of the Germain Toyota, number 30 of Todd Bodine. Todd finished second last year. He got beat late in the race with fresh tires by Shane Neal. NASCAR gave all these competitors an extra set of tires this year, so that tire situation should not be an issue.
And they will be wanting to use them. We've got a spin right here on the front stretch.
That's Tracy Hines getting spun around. The traffic behind him looks as though it was going to get through, but then we had another spinner coming through. That's the 12 of Joey Miller, also involved in this. He gets spun around trying to avoid the spinning number 13 of Tracy Hines.
Yeah, he got some contact with another truck too. Joey Miller did. So there's another truck still making its way around the racetrack that will have some damage.
I saw the tire come off the left rear of Tracy Hines there. I'm not sure if that was after contact.
Brennan Gaughan is the other truck. I saw Joey Miller make some contact with somebody. And that's what happens. Brendan lost an engine, had a good qualifying effort, but because he changed engines, he had to go to the very back of the pack, and he undoubtedly got in this section. Let's see if we can see what happened. Let's watch for Tracy Hines, the number 13 Chevrolet. Looks like he might have got a tap from the 18 of Chase Montgomery right near the start-finish line.
My truck.
See, Joey Miller turned around and he made some contact with a 77 of Brendan Gaughan.
That's so hard to tell when you see the tire come off like that. I don't know if it's because of low air pressure right there when he got spun.
There's another view. That's after the contact, if there was some. Sometimes, though, if the tire came off, Tracy may have backed out of the throttle, and that may have caused the contact, if there was any contact.
Yes.
Tracy's already around. He makes some pretty hard contact with the outside wall. Joey Miller got turned around in the aftermath. Unfortunately made some contact with the 77 Jasper Engines Dodge of Brendan Gaughan.
The fire's out on the number 13 Tracy Hines getting out of that truck. We'll be back to sort things out for this. Tomorrow night on Speed Channel, Dave Despain takes over the airwaves on Wind Tunnel. Nextel Cup rookie to chase contender in 1 year. Carl Edwards is in the co-host seat, ready to talk about all this and more. Get your questions and comments ready and your dialing fingers primed, because you never know what will come up on this show. Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain tomorrow night at 9 p.m. only on Speed Channel. You see the trucks stopped on the front stretch. That's because we're under a red flag condition, and this is why. We'll take another look at this from the front. Hank, you had mentioned you thought a tire maybe came off.
Yeah, looking right there, it doesn't look like even any contact was made. Looks like he just lost the left rear tire. I saw the tread come off right there on the flat part of the racetrack when he was spinning. Sometimes that's caused by earlier contact, especially when you're all bunched up at the start of the race like that. Someone could have got a fender and cut his valve stem off. He could have lost air that way, but right there didn't look like any contact.
See a lot of damage to the Jasper Engines Dodge of Brendan Gaughan. There's Joey Miller's truck. Again, red flag conditions. These crews are not able to work on these trucks at all during the red flag, so they're just having to take a look at it and see what they need to do to fix that truck and get it back on the racetrack.
Red flag coming out as NASCAR probably didn't want anyone coming and going out of pit road, as there was trucks parked at the end of pit road. In celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Craftsman Truck Series, we present the toughest NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series moments, made possible by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR. We focus on moment number 6, and it was a season. The 1995 season, Mike Skinner was able to find victory lane 8 times in that inaugural year. He went on to win the championship, the first ever championship in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Won the first race at Phoenix and claimed the title. Also holding the trophy up at the end of the season in Phoenix as well, where it all started. Mike Skinner's able to celebrate a couple races this year as well. He was able to find victory lane twice already this season, and we're not going to count him out of this one as he's out in front, started on the pole again tonight. The yellow flag has come out, and so the trucks will begin to roll. We'll be back for green flag racing.
has a brand new impact driver that I really like for a couple of cool features. Check this out. It has an angled handle on it so that you can use it like a drill, or you just push the button and it easily goes straight. Now, you can change the bits or whatever you need up front real easy. You just pick it out, pull it in, do like that, and your bit's stuck in there. Now, I've got an Allen wrench in here right now, and check this out. When the guys get ready to attach the skirt to the truck, you just drive it in, and it's guaranteed not to strip. Now, you can take this thing from being an Allen wrench to making it into a drill just like that. If you need to use it as a screwdriver, it's pretty simple to change. This thing's versatile, and once you charge it up, you're good to go working all day long.
Welcome back to the Las Vegas 350. Brendan Gaughan and that Jasper Engines number 77 comes back down pit road. And while we were at break, this is how he was able to get there the first time.
Took a little shortcut through the grass. Now NASCAR more than likely will make him start at the tail end of the longest line, but it's not going to really matter because he had to do so many repairs to that truck that he's going to be back there anyway.
Hey, and maybe the racetrack will send him a bill for messing up their grass. You never know.
Ray.
Well, guys, they came down here, and what they found out on that left front fender, they had to do a little cutting, added a couple of pieces of aluminum there, put some bare bond tape on it, and Brendan is back to the racetrack. We're ready to go back to green here at Las Vegas.
Mike Skinner out in front of Bill Lester, David Rudiman, Ted Musgrave, and Todd Bodine is our top five. The
trouble for Mike Skinner on the start. He got a very, very poor start, and Bill Lester drove by him on the outside.
Skinner settling back to third, it looks like, if he's able to hold on to that spot, but Ted Musgrave wants to take it away from him.
I don't know, maybe if he got some trash on his tires. You know, everybody's been talking about how slick the racetrack has been. Maybe if he just spun his tires. I mean, it looks like maybe there's some trash on his tire because he continues to lose position.
Looks like he may be back up to speed now. As you can see, drive to the inside of the 17 NTN Bearing Toyota team truck of David Rudiman. Here's Jimmy Spencer. Looks to the outside of the Germain Toyota number 30. Todd Bodine. Now he's back to the inside.
Side by side as they work their way through 1 and 2. That's Todd Bodine on the high side of Jimmy Spencer. And we saw what happened a week ago when Todd Bodine went on the high side of Jimmy Spencer.
Both of those drivers told us in the pre-race show that there's nothing lingering from that situation. Well, they're getting a good chance to test it out right here. They're running together. But look at Todd Bodine move to the outside of Mike Skinner.
Skinner moving up on the track. Todd Bodine running out of track there. The wall coming up awful quickly, and now they are side by side as they go by the start-finish line. Jimmy Spencer on the inside of Todd Bodine.
Almost touching as they got to the start-finish line. Todd's going to drive it in there a little bit deeper on the outside. Looks like he's going to bring Bobby Hamilton, the 04 Bailey's Dodge, right behind him. Got some local sponsorship from the Stratosphere Hotel Casino up the road here, or down the road here a little bit.
Well, staying up on the outside like the 30 truck is doing right there allows him to keep his momentum up, and he doesn't have to slow down by being bound on the bottom like the 2 truck was. So if he stays up high, he's able to keep his RPM up going down the straightaway, and it allows him to keep his engine freed up.
Hank, let's see if we can take a look at that restart here. See Mike Skinner, he's the leader. He's the one that's supposed to start this race, and he just pulls down to the inside, just did not take off. Again, as you mentioned, he may have had something on his tires, or he may have been in the wrong gear. It looks like almost he wanted to take off in 2nd gear, and he might have been in 3rd gear because he was just slow on the takeoff.
Yeah, or maybe some kind of a carburation issue. I don't know if maybe, you know, it was loaded up, or, you know, you see a lot of guys do that in a hot race when you vapor lock or something on the start, but I don't know what the issue was there. Maybe we can find out more.
Back on pit road, that Jasper Engine 77 of Brendan Gaughan. Again, had problems, got into the accident with the 13 and the 12 earlier. Ray, what's happening with that 77?
Well, it's much worse, Rick. Brendan came on the radio, says he believes they may have lost a motor here. He shut it off that time to come in. Now, NASCAR had reported it looked like some water came out of there, so they'll go and look at it one more time and decide whether he's going to try to fire it up again, but it appears that maybe the engine is gone in that Jasper Dodge.
That's engine number 2 on the weekend for Brendan Gaughan. Again, after the practice session, or first practice session, they changed an engine, so that was their backup engine they put in there, and obviously they're having problems with it.
Tough break for our 2003 winner of this race, Brendan Gaughan. Ted Musgrave had a look on the inside of Bill Lester. Was not enough room down there, so backed off wisely.
Bill Lester out in front of Ted Musgrave. Again, Ted Musgrave currently 2nd in the points standings, just 59 points behind Dennis Setzer. Now, Setzer started way back in 22nd position, but he's been able to make his way up through the standings.
Three wide racing right there. Bobby Hamilton, the 04 truck on the outside. Terry Cook, the 10 on the middle, and it looks like the 38 of Brandon Wood on the inside. Three wide racing here at Las Vegas.
You can see the 38 truck is going below the white line, trying to get on the inside of the 10 truck. He is using all the asphalt that he possibly can.
Bobby Hamilton had lost a couple positions there. We saw him racing on the outside of Mike Skinner just a couple laps ago. Then he got behind these trucks, and you see Terry Cook right on the white line on the bottom of the racetrack, and Bobby Hamilton riding that high line.
Bobby Hamilton notorious for going on the high side of tracks, able to make it stick for that 04 Dodge. Winding.
Bobby Hamilton does have the same truck he ran at Loudon last week, but they took it back to the shop in Tennessee, and they changed the front end on it after Loudon. They figured they have nothing to lose. They're not far back in the points, but he knows that he's out for the championship chase as he sits 6th in points. So they're trying things for 2006. They said they might as well get ahead for next year's championship run.
He's losing some positions right now, Wendy. That the 10 of Terry Cook and the 38 of Brendan Witt both went by now. Jack Sprague, the 18 Chevy Silverado, is on the inside of Bobby Hamilton. He's staying way up on outside of the racetrack for some reason. I don't think he likes the way that truck's handling right now. I'm sure they'll make some pretty severe adjustments when it comes caution or first pit stop time.
It looks like he's kind of tired. I mean, everybody's been talking about how greasy the racetrack is. It looks like he's really sliding up. You know, when you can see something that's scary, looks like a caution, those guys racing right there are racing like there's 5 laps to go. I mean, they are getting on with it right there.
Now, Hank, you mentioned that the drivers were talking about it being a slick racetrack or very slippery, but we're seeing side-by-side racing. It doesn't seem like they're afraid of the track being very slick.
No, this place does have multiple grooves. I mean, as the race goes on, you see these guys work up to the outside, but these guys are on the edge. They are really sawing on the wheel and driving these things as hard as they can. You see Bobby Hamilton working his truck up high. He's doing everything he can to try to go fast. And even if it takes going up high or running down low, he's looking for a line to make his truck go faster.
You know, we've talked over the years how slick the racetracks at Darlington and the Rockingham, North Carolina racetrack that we used to run. A lot of the drivers compare this racetrack and this surface now to a Rockingham or a Darlington, with it as the tires are only good for a few laps and then you start slipping and sliding. But that doesn't mean they're not going to race side by side or 3 wide. It just means they have their hands full.
Rick Crawford just in front of Matt Crafton. Rick Crawford, our most recent winner of Loudon, New Hampshire.
There's our point leader, Dennis Setzer. He's right behind the 6 Goodwrench truck of Ron Hornaday. There's the Orleans Dodge of Steve Park. He made a pit stop back on lap number 4 during that first caution flag. Came in for some adjustments, and he's already back up into a pretty good top 20 position right now. As you see him work underneath Dennis Setzer and just drive by him on the inside.
That was a nice pass. I mean, when you see that, you know his truck is handling. He was just able to really turn that truck down right on the white line, and you can see him making a couple more passes right here. He's going to get them 2 at a time.
Made a great 3 wide pass right there. He got by the 50 of Todd Cleaver. Now he's going after Ron Hornaday in the 6 truck. Steve had one of the best trucks in practice. He was definitely top 10 material in practice.
Steve got a little loose coming out of the corner there. It looked like a little bit of a wiggle, but was able to keep it straight.
I told you they were sawing on the wheel. And I mean, even when it's good, you got to work here. I mean, this racetrack is so hot and sandy, the asphalt gets worn, and he's hanging on to it.
Look how good Steve was in the center of the corner, though. He gained 2 or 3 truck lengths right there on Ron Hornaday, right through the center of the corner. If he can keep the center of the corner like that the entire night, he's going to have a great night.
Well, because of a great restart, Bill Lester is up on point now. Ted Musgrave holding on to 2nd. Bodine in 3rd. David Rudeman takes over the 4th spot, and Mike Skinner rounds out our top 5. Mike Skinner restarted this race in the top spot, but has given it up to Bill Lester. Welcome back to the City of Lights, the bright lights of Las Vegas, Nevada, and the Strip. Out in front, taking over under the lights, is Ted Musgrave, but now he's being challenged by Todd Bodine.
And most of the drivers and teams in the garage area said that 30 truck was one of the best, if not the best truck during practice. And here he is taking over the lead for Ted Musgrave. But Ted Musgrave was able to lead. He got the 5 bonus points. Only the 3rd race this season that Ted Musgrave has led. That's an incredible stat for me.
Now you may say, what happened to Bill Lester? When we went away to break, Bill Lester was out in front. Let's take a look.
Looks like Bill Lester just pulled over to allow Ted Musgrave to take over the lead. Looked like a planned deal. I think Ray Dunlap may have the knowledge of that it was a planned deal, but Ted Musgrave was not, we got a little bit loose through that corner there, but Bill Lester was not able just to drive right back up and pass him back. There's Bill, he's falling back at the, Ray, is that what happened down there with Bill Lester?
Yeah, that's it, Phil. This was a planned deal, and Bill says, I'll pull over, let him have it at the line, and Musgrave agreed that he would, when they get down to turn 1, he'd give it right back to him, but for some reason, I think Bill just liked that clean air on the front of his truck. He has not been able to go back up there, and as he slowed down to let Musgrave do it, here came the 30.
He saw an opportunity, he took it. You know, when you're in front, it's a whole different ball game. When you get behind these guys, as slick as this racetrack is, you get really tight. And I'm sure his truck's just gotten tight, and when he pulled down to let Musgrave go, he broke his momentum. It allowed the 30 truck to catch up with both of them, and now he's fighting that dirty air.
He's right about 3 truck lengths right now behind Ted Musgrave. More than likely, Ted will let him go back by because of the planned situation where Bill let Ted Musgrave get by him to lead a lap. Ted will probably let him go back by to take over the second position. But in the meanwhile, Todd Bodine is just driving away from this group. He's already put about a second, a third lead on Ted Musgrave.
Well, how strong are the Toyotas right now? We've got Todd Bodine that's leading this race. Then third is Bill Lester. Fourth, David Rudiman. Fifth, Mike Skinner. Sixth, Johnny Benson. So the top 6, 5 Toyotas.
And Johnny came all the way from a 13th place starting position, too. So Johnny Benson is on the move.
Very strong. Johnny Benson, one of those drivers we've expected to find victory lane and has not yet done that. Maybe tonight.
Oh, there's Johnny right there. We talked to, no, that's Bill Lester. I'm sorry, the 22 truck. There's the 17 of David Rudiman. Mike Skinner goes by in the 5 truck, and here comes Johnny. Right there, lapping by the 24 truck of Robert Richardson, who makes his first career Craftsman Truck Series start. There's David Starr, the 75 Spears truck, right behind Johnny Benson.
With a new paint job. Normally we see that as a blue and white. Spears Manufacturing, number 75. Tonight they've got the flame guard colors on that one. You see the flames on the front of the truck.
Bill Lester has taken over the second position from Ted Musgrave. We've got a wad of trucks right here. There's our point leader at the very back on the outside of that wad, the 46. Again, we're used to seeing that truck black. It's got the red truck. We've seen that a few times. I think Dennis Setzer won Michigan with that red paint scheme. He's got it again here.
He's in an area he wants to get around these guys. I mean, when they're 3 wide in front of you, he's got everything to lose.
The problem is that, Hank, I think he's going backwards. That's why he's behind this group, because I think they've all driven up and passed him. He's back down to the 21st position right now.
Dennis Setzer started this race in 22nd. He was able to work his way all the way up to the 18th position, but as you mentioned, Phil, he is now dropping back in the field. He's already back to 22nd now as Chad Chaffin has gotten by him.
You see him on the outside of Chad Chaffin right now. There's Ricky Craven, the Super Chips, number 99. He's at the very back of this duo. They're side by side, 2 rows in front of him.
A lot of great side-by-side racing continuing. Ron Hornaday on the outside. Here's a battle for second. Ted Musgrave. This is actually for third. David Rudiman on the inside of Ted Musgrave trying to take away that spot. It's Todd Bodine and Bill Lester out in front. Those are 1 and 2. Ted Musgrave holding on to the 3rd spot as David Rudiman was challenging him for it.
Todd Bodine has about a 2.5 second lead now over Bill Lester. See, David Rudiman just drives up beside Ted Musgrave coming off turn number 4.
Very strong pass. David Rudiman in that NTN Bearings, number 17, taking over the 3rd spot. That makes it 3 Toyotas in the top 3. We're hearing about some problems with Jimmy Spencer and that Team ASE Dodge. Wendy?
Yeah, you'll notice Jimmy Spencer keeps losing spots lap after lap. He said something has broken the motor, boys. They believe it might be a valve spring. He keeps losing RPMs every lap, and he is running 12th right now, but losing spots every circuit around.
You know, Wendy, that 2 truck of Jimmy Spencer's got a little bit different engine combination. Joey Arrington does the engines for this truck along with the one of Ted Musgrave, and all of Bobby Hamilton's trucks got a little bit of different engine combination. Joey Arrington said it makes a little bit more power. So they were trying it here. It may have been him.
Yeah, it just looks like he's probably lost the cylinder. You can see, obviously, it doesn't sound right. And as he's going down the straightaway, he continues to lose his ground. And in the corners, he seems to be fine.
Horsepower going away from that Team ASE number 2 of Jimmy Spencer.
Boy, Hank, it makes for a long night when you have an engine problem, especially we're only 32 laps into this race. Jimmy Spencer, more than likely, as you mentioned, is on 7 cylinders. It's going to make for a pretty long night.
It sure will, and he's had a great truck in practice, and he was looking forward to tonight. I know those guys were up on the practice sheets, and they were looking good for tonight, and that's a bad deal to have something go south like that out of your control.
That last time by, Jimmy Spencer's lap time was 36.565 seconds. Out in front, they're running 34.4 seconds, so he is definitely off the pace. That's Todd Bodine out in front in his Toyota. Bill Lester, David Rudeman, Ted Musgrave, and Mike Skinner round out our top 5. Speed Channel Champ Car World Series Las Vegas. The last stop in the States for Champ Cars is sure to be a wild one. Hang on for some nail-biting action when open-wheel Champ Cars hit the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Champ Car World Series tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. only on Speed Channel. Todd Bodine making these men out here look like boys, as he has put almost 6 seconds between himself and second place.
There's Jimmy Spencer already gone a lap down here. It probably only took about 10 laps after he lost a cylinder to go a lap down. That's how fast Todd Bodine is lapping this racetrack. You see Johnny Benson, the 23 Toyota, is taking over the 5th position from the 17 of David Rudin.
He's very solid tonight. He's a very consistent guy, you know. We've looked for him to be in victory lane, but maybe tonight's the night for him.
You know, Rick Wren came on board that team a few races ago, and they seem to really be getting their combinations together, and they're very clicking right now. So I think Johnny Benson is maybe a contender to win one of these races before much longer, maybe even tonight.
Well, and Johnny Benson could be the 14th different winner of the 2005 season. We mentioned that at the beginning of the show, that back in 1998 there were 14 different winners, and that is the record for most winners in a season for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Johnny Benson currently being shown in 5th, but in front of him, Bill Lester still does not have a win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in his career or this season. So he could be our 14th different winner.
Two drivers in the top 5 right now that have not won a race this season or in their entire career. So that would be a big night, but they're going to have to contend with Todd Bodine in that 30. He's got about a 6.5 second lead right now on Bill Lester. He continues to run the fastest laps, it seems like, each and every lap, and he's just driving away.
You know, I'm sitting here watching the times, and I talked to a lot of guys about what they expected to fall off, and everybody thought about after about 20 laps to fall off about a second. It's looking like they're more about 2 seconds now. So, but Todd Bodine, we've seen this show before on these type of racetracks. Man, that truck is always very strong.
Our points leader, Dennis Setzer, we had mentioned he started this race in 22nd. He was able to work his way up to 18th, now being shown in 21st. So not a real good night so far as we started this race for Dennis Setzer.
This not a good night. It's going to get much worse before long, because Todd Bodine is not that far behind him to put him a lap down, as he is not that far behind the 6 of Ron Hornaday to put him a lap down, Ray.
Yeah, and guys, he is very loose in the center. He said this truck, he just can't hardly hold on to it. Earlier in practice today, Dennis got completely sideways, but that was because there was some oil on the track. And Bobby Hamilton was behind him and said, that is the best job I've ever seen. They were just talking to Dennis on the radio, and he said, I feel like I'm as sideways as I was earlier. He is very loose in the middle.
Let's take a look at the points if the race were to end right now. Obviously, Ted Musgrave running third will gain a lot of points. It would only be 11-point lead, but it's Ted Musgrave that would be in the lead right now if the race ended right now. You know, Dennis Setzer is good at this racetrack. He's been here 6 times. He's been in the top 10 5 of those 6 races. So Dennis Setzer knows how to get around this racetrack. They've missed the combination.
Phil, that's a 70-point switch for Dennis Setzer and Ted Musgrave. Again, coming into this race, Dennis Setzer had a 59-point lead over Ted Musgrave. And now as they're running, Ted Musgrave would be our leader by 11 points over Setzer.
Rick, we were going to engrave the trophy about 4 or 5 races ago and put Dennis Setzer's name on it. And here he is, again, 59 points ahead coming into the race. He's lost so many positions during this race. If the race were to end right now, we saw Ted Musgrave would take over the lead. You know, we talked about Ted Musgrave only leading the 3rd race this year here. Well, I talked to Gene Neat, his crew chief in the garage here. I said, I cannot believe you guys have only led 2 races so far. He said, I don't care if we lead any more races. I just want to win that championship.
Well, Jack Sprague is in on pit road now. And Jack Sprague, I was thinking they were going to rename this racetrack the Las Vegas Jack Sprague Motor Speedway, as he has so many records here. When we take a look at the battle right now for the 3rd position, there's another Toyota moving up to the front. That's Johnny Benson getting by Ted Musgrave. Musgrave, the only Dodge up there that's trying to mess with the Toyota party that's going on right now.
The Toyota camp has really figured these big racetracks out. I think Wendy's got something for us down on pit road. Wendy?
You notice Jack Sprague did come down on a green flag stop. Of course, they didn't want to give up that track position, but they had overheated. The water temps were up to 260. They had a tear off on the grill, so Chris Showalter, the crew chief, brought Jack Sprague down on pit road on lap 44.
There's our leader, the 30 of Todd Bodine, tries to drive around. Whoa, very, very close on the outside there. That's Brendan Lamar, the 92 truck, one of Kevin Harvick's machines, a Snap-on truck right in front of Todd Bodine. Jack Sprague would dearly love to stay in front of Todd Bodine because that would mean yet another lap if Todd Bodine was able to get by Jack Sprague. Right now, he is 1 lap down, almost 2 complete laps down.
You can see at the front part of that screen right there, Dennis Setzer is just in front of our leader, and you can never give these championships away. He's the next truck to go a lap down. I know he's giving it all he's got to stay in front of that leader. This is a tough place to get a lap back.
Well, we're possibly 13 laps away from green flag pit stops because we've completed 46 laps. A lot of the teams said they could make it maybe 60 laps on fuel, but the tires fall off so much that we're going to be seeing some pit stops between 50 and 60 laps.
Well, I think that maybe the pit stops will come a little bit earlier on 60 laps because this is an impound race, and one thing that you do have to factor is these guys can, you know, have to do the pace laps, the qualifying laps, and all that stuff, so you've got to factor that in a little bit.
Fuel coming into play. Dennis Setzer getting lapped. That's your points leader, Dennis Setzer in the 46, and the Germain Racing number 30 of Todd Bodine, our leader, getting by him on lap 48.
You know, that may not be a big disadvantage to Jack Sprague because he's going to pit and have those fresher tires for a few more laps. He will gain a lot of track positions if the green flag stays out long enough to allow all these trucks to come down pit road. We had a few trucks, you know, pit on that first caution, so they have probably 4, 5, 6 more laps of fuel than the rest of these trucks do that did not pit at all during this race.
So Todd Bodine has led 26 of the 48 laps run so far. Bill Lester nestles into second, 10 seconds behind Bodine. Welcome back to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the Las Vegas 350. I guess you would say if you've got the winning numbers in the lottery, you'd want to bet them, and Todd Bodine looks like he's picked the winning numbers right now.
He's up there singing Viva Las Vegas.
He loves Las Vegas.
Come on now, Hank.
You know, I don't think he's singing. I think he's probably concentrating.
Well, the Onion has dominated so far this one. Moving up to second is Johnny Benson, but he is still almost 10 seconds behind Todd Bodine. We see Terry Cook coming down for a green flag pit stop.
Actually coming right back out on the racetrack. We're going to see a lot of green flag pit stops here momentarily. Ted Musgrave has already been in. There's Terry Cook. He's leaving. There's Terry Cook leaving pit road right here. Here's Ted Musgrave as he enters the pits right here. He's going to get 4 tires. Sunoco fuel. Probably some chassis adjustment there. Ted Musgrave had a great truck, but he had lost the second position to Johnny Benson before this pit stop. We saw the wedge wrench being taken out of the back of that truck right there, so they made a wedge adjustment on that number 1 Mopar Dodge, clean off the grill, and away he goes.
One other truck that was in on pit road when Ted Musgrave came in was the 29 of Brad Keselowski, and they actually took that truck behind the wall. So Brad Keselowski, the 29, off the track right now, as is Brendan Gaughan and Tracy Hines. Those 3 trucks currently not running on the track. We see David Starr in the Fire Guard number 75 for Spears Manufacturing coming down pit road. Wendy.
David's coming in. He's been tight in the center and loose off. They're making a track bar adjustment, 1 round on that, and also making an air pressure adjustment. Crew Chief Dave McCarty said we can't take the time on a green flag stop to do any more changes. Looks like a pretty good stop on the 75. You also see David Ruderman and Bobby Hamilton on pit road at this time.
David Starr, a former winner at this racetrack. Ron Hornaday coming down pit road as well. Ray.
Yeah, Ron Hornaday coming down now. I'll tell you what, he has just been terrible tight. He said when he goes into the center of the corner, the thing just wants to go all the way up the racetrack. They're going to make a wedge adjustment on his Goodwrench Chevrolet. The guys go. We also see track bar going down 3-4 rounds for Hornaday. These guys continue to work on the left side. Hornaday hoping this will get a little bit better. Wendy?
17 of David Ruderman has been tight in the center off. He said he needs help in a bad way. They're making an air pressure adjustment and also a wedge adjustment on his vehicle. Ray?
Todd Bodine is in his Germain Toyota. This truck has been absolutely flawless. He said, what do you want to do? He said, I think I'd like to have gas and 4 tires. So that's what the guys will do. You see a lot of blue shirts out here, crew members from the number 9 team helping out tonight. These guys got the tires on. Todd Bodine, a little bit of a hang up on the left rear, but not bad.
That gives our lead to Johnny Benson at 23. Now he's on pit road.
Johnny Benson will give the lead back to Bill Lester. Bill Lester had led a few laps at the beginning of this race. Now back out in front as he has not come down pit road yet for his service and fuel. But Johnny Benson making his way to his pit stall.
Yep.
Johnny's going to come in. He's going to get Ray. What's going on with Johnny?
Well, Phil, this is a little bit tough one for him to fix because he has been loose in the middle but tied off. So they are going to try to do it with air pressure on the right front of his number 23 certified used Toyota truck. And these guys just talking about what is the best adjustment to make. What's the worst part about it being in the middle, or is the worst part coming off?
Just over 22 seconds for Johnny Benson on pit road.
A little slow pit stop there for Johnny's bunch. A good pit stop in a truck is about 16, 18 seconds. We saw several trucks make those kind of pit stops. There's Bill Lester. He's pulling over the inside of the racetrack. He's slowing down awfully quick here, it looks like.
He's going to come in for his pit stop, I'm sure, as he is one of the trucks that hasn't been down pit road. It looks as though he's wiggling the truck a little bit. May have run out of fuel.
He looked like he slowed down probably before he needed to. These trucks have run 58 laps now, and they had 2 qualifying laps plus a warm-up lap. So, and they were not allowed to top those trucks off, as you mentioned, Hank. So that's a lot of laps to run right there. And Bill may have been out of fuel.
Making his way down pit road, always cautious of pit road speed, wanting to get to their pit as quickly as possible, but not speed on pit road. Right.
And Bill has been tight coming off of the corners there. He is not out of gas. The truck was definitely running, and whether he ran out of gas coming off the track and got it refired, I'm not quite sure. But they come down here and they say that they are going to make air pressure adjustment on the right rear of that truck. These guys come around to do the left side. Bill Lester saying that he wanted to come to pit road exactly when the 30 did, but they wanted to try to get back out there and lead another lap. I don't know, guys. Did he lead another lap by waiting?
Johnny Benson was able to lead. Actually, Bill Lester was able to get out and lead a lap.
So the plan did work, and we showed Jack Sprague coming into the pits and thought it was going to be a misfortune, but luckily it stayed green for him, and now he can cycle back around. What would be the great thing to happen is he can get back in sequence if a caution does come out where they can all change tires at the same time.
And as we have cycled through the pit stops, Todd Bodine goes back up front, Ted Musgrave second. Now Jack Bailey Jr. in the 08 is third. Jack Sprague, a man who has been oh so good at this racetrack, currently being shown in fourth.
There's the number 12 Toyota Tundra of Joey Miller. We saw him being involved in that first accident. He was one of the trucks that stayed on the racetrack under green. He came in, he got up into the top 5 before he made his pit stop. Now he's going to come in, and Darrell Waltrip's guys are going to do some pit work. Going to give him 4 tires, I'm sure. A little hang up on the right rear corner.
You know, we showed Bill Lester coming down the pits and showing all these guys coming down the pits talking about how important it is not to speed on pit road. They now have a loop system when you're coming down pit road that they can catch you no matter what you do if you're speeding at all. So you have to be very cautious. There's Todd Bodine, who's gotten back in the lead of this race, and man, he has got a really good truck. I always hear all these other guys making all these changes, and all he wants is 4 tires. That's bad news for everybody else.
You know, Hank, he had about a 9-second lead before the green flag pit stop started. Now Ted Musgrave has moved up into the second position, and he's only 3 seconds behind. So that's how much time Ted Musgrave gained, either by pitting a little bit earlier than Todd Bodine, or maybe his pit stop being that that much better. He gained a lot of time on Todd Bodine.
Well, as Todd Bodine is out in front, we mentioned Jack Sprague currently running in 5th. And Phil, you talked about the fact that when he came in, it looked like he needed to make some adjustments to that truck. But because he was able to come in a little bit earlier, he was going to be able to stay out longer. Where as we see all of these trucks coming down for green flag pit stops now, Jack Sprague was able to stay out on the track, get track position. So he's being shown in 5th position right now. And now if a caution comes out, that's great for Jack Sprague.
It would be great. Anytime from now, probably for another 40 laps, it would be okay for Jack Sprague as long as he stays on the lead lap, as long as he's fast enough to stay on the lead lap. And you see what a terrific record he has at Las Vegas. 2 wins. I think he's got 5 top 2 finishes here at Las Vegas. Awfully good at this racetrack.
Well, he's had the most top 5s. He's had the most top 10s, most laps completed, most money won. Again, they should rename this the Jack Sprague Las Vegas Speedway.
Well, that's about the story of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. All the records belong to Jack Sprague except the record for the most wins, and that belongs to Ron Hornaday.
Todd Bodine would like to put his name in the record books, especially at Las Vegas with a win tonight. Caution flag has come out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Todd Bodine still out in front, but the caution coming out for Chad Chaffin. He got spun around, and we'll take a look at this.
Right before this, the 0-2 of Kelly Sutton made a little bit of contact with Chad. That's what forced him up the racetrack. He was trying to gain control of his truck. Kelly went by on the outside. Here comes Todd Bodine, our leader, on pit road.
So our leader coming down pit road to make a stop. Ted Musgrave also following him down. Wendy.
Jack Sprague will come down on my end of pit road, but you will not see David Starr. Surprisingly, Dave McCarty made that choice to leave David Starr out there. Jack Sprague comes to a stop. He's been a little too loose on the long runs. 4 tires, 2 rounds down on the left rear tire, and an air pressure adjustment. Ray, who came in on your end?
Well, I've got Ted Musgrave and Todd Bodine, our leader, but here's the thing, Wendy. Ted Musgrave had about 14 laps better tires there, and he was running fast. But then when Todd pitted, he was way faster again and made up a couple of seconds. Now Musgrave stalls the truck a little bit and has a hard time getting it going, so he's going to lose a spot to David Starr. But the 30 will go back off of pit road first here. Now here's the situation. Todd Bodine has got to go 40 and 40 on these next 2 sets of tires. Guys, is that the good call?
I think so. I don't think you want to be caught out with more laps on your tires than anybody else. But Todd Bodine was the guy that led him on the pit road, so I think he pretty much dictated what everyone else was going to do. We knew Jack Sprague would have to stop putting tires on because he had over 20 laps on his tires. Todd Bodine, some of these other trucks only had 5 or 6 laps. David McCarty told Wendy that he was going to stay out with David Starr, and they decided to come in at the very last minute. That's why David Starr was on pit road. I think when they saw Todd Bodine come down pit road, that's when they decided, hey, if our leaders come in, I think we've got to come in too.
Especially if he's that fast.
Wendy, what's going on?
Yeah, it was a last-minute call by Dave McCarty. He said as they were coming down pit road to have David Starr come along with them. They only had 11 laps on the tires, like you guys were saying, but you can't stay out there by yourself. Monkey see, monkey do here on pit road.
Well, Todd Bodine in the 1 of Ted Musgrave came down pit road, as did the 75. So Todd Bodine opting for the fresh tires. They got another set here at Vegas than they had a year ago. Tires won the race a year ago. Can Todd Bodine do it this year? Welcome back to Las Vegas, Nevada, site of race number 20 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and all the casinos down by the Strip in downtown Las Vegas. It's almost like it's daytime all the time in Las Vegas with all those lights.
Top 3 trucks stayed out that time. Steve Park, the 62 Orlean Dodge, is our leader. David Ruderman, the NTN Bearing number 17, also stayed out. He's second. And Bill Luster and Bill Davis's Toyota, I think XM Radio on the side of that truck this week, also stayed out. So the top 3 stayed out. Todd Bodine, the first truck that pitted, he's in 4th.
We'll see how long it takes Todd to get back up there. His truck has just been so dominant tonight, and him having tires versus those other guys having, 15 to 20 laps in their tires. I think it won't take him long to get back to the front.
I think Bill Luster, the 22 truck, was the last one of those top 3 to pit. He pitted back on lap number 59, so he didn't probably have 5 or 6 laps on his tires when the caution flag came out. Not a bad move to stay out.
We were on board with Terry Cook there in the Power Stroke Diesel by International number 10 as he was driving by trucks on the restart.
Wow, the 24 truck of Robert Richardson on the inside, holding up the inside line. The outside line trucks just driving right by. You see Tim Fido on the blue truck on the inside. There's Johnny Benson. Looked like Ron Hornaday was able to get by him. There goes Terry Cook by him in the Power Stroke Diesel Ford.
Of that outside line, you have a lot of momentum built up. Looked like Johnny got on the inside, maybe got stacked up behind some of that lap traffic, broke his momentum. Those guys went by.
Wendy, what's going on with Terry Cook?
Terry Cook's followed all the other guys down pit road with those pit strategies. They did go down on the track bar and made an air pressure adjustment. For Terry Cook, this is chassis number 9, sister truck to number 8, which he dominated with that truck at Kentucky, and he ended up wrecking it. So they know this truck is just as good as that sister truck. Terry Cook's been happy most of the night, and they've had flawless pit stops on pit road as well.
Side by side, we ride along with David Starr. David Starr also came down pit road on this last caution. He has moved his way up to 4th position. Todd Bodine has moved to 2nd, just behind the 62 of Steve Park.
See the 1 of Ted Musgrave make his way by the 17 of David Ruderman. Remember, David Ruderman was one of the 3 trucks that stayed out. He's dropped a couple positions right now to these fellas with fresher tires.
Which that may pay off at the end of the race, you know, if they've got another set of tires sitting there waiting to go.
And oh, by the way, the 30 of Todd Bodine is now leading. 75 David Starr drives by the 62 of Steve Park, as does the 1 of Ted Musgrave. Those fresh tires are really making themselves evident right now.
Well, now we're going to see if anyone can stay with Todd Bodine, because Todd Bodine, before the caution, had put almost 10 seconds between himself and 2nd, and now he's back out in front. But Steve Park has fallen back. David Starr, Ted Musgrave on the same tire cycle. So can they stay with Todd Bodine? We'll have to find out.
I talked to Mike Hillman, team manager, Mike Hillman Sr., team manager for this truck right here, the Germain Toyota, and I asked him, I said, how is that truck? He said, I think it's really good. And I said, this race could get really ugly. We are so good right now. So he was very, very confident coming into this race, and so far he's been proven true. Great run, though, for David Starr. I talked to Dave McCarty. They struggled a little bit in the first practice, Hank, as you well know, and they made some adjustments. They got a good qualifying effort, and I think he's had a pretty flawless race so far.
Yeah, it looks like Dave McCarty must have made the right decisions. I talked to David. He was talking about how slick the track was. You can see these guys racing side by side, but it looks like Dave McCarty must have made the right changes to get that 75 up front.
Chevy on the inside. That's Jack Sprague in the number 16 NTN Bearings Toyota of David Ruderman on the outside, and they'll stay side by side as they go around this 1.5-mile track.
Looks like the 16 of Jack got a little bit loose on the bottom.
Got me a little nervous there. I got a little jumpy. You can see him getting a little loose on the inside of the 17. That's a bad place to be. And you can see David realized that and kind of gave him a little bit of break right there. But man, you can get so loose on the inside of someone like that. Just takes it off your spoiler. Next thing you'll know, you'll be up in the side of the guy on the outside, put him in the wall.
And that was a good move by David Ruderman to back off and let Jack have it. There's no sense racing side by side right now. David Ruderman knew as we go 3, maybe even 4 wide going into turn number 1. See Dennis Setzer, that's our point leader right on the bottom of the racetrack. Terry Cook, the 10 truck on his outside. That's a view from Terry Cook's Power Stroke onboard.
We've seen that 10 truck in the middle 3 wide a few times. He's not afraid to make it 3 wide, is he?
Sure have. Remember, Dennis Setzer is one of the trucks a lap down right now, so he desperately needs to get in front of Ron Hornaday right now to get up to be the first truck 1 lap down, so he can maybe be the recipient of the free pass. Right now, Ron Hornaday is that first truck 1 lap down in 17th.
Yeah, currently only 16 trucks on the lead lap. Bobby Hamilton, the 16th truck, and he is almost 12 seconds behind our leader, Todd Bodine.
We talked about David Ruderman backing off and letting Sprague go right there because he was on the inside. I just wanted to mention, in that position, he's a smart race car driver, and he knows that it would just hurt himself to race him. As you see Ted Musgrave go by David Starr.
Taking over 2nd place, that's the Mopar Dodge of Ted Musgrave out in front of the Spears Manufacturing Fireguard 75.
You know, Ted Musgrave's guys have made him aware of the fact that the 46 of Dennis Setzer is a lap down right now, so he knows there are a lot of points to be gained, and he wants to do it, and he wants to do it with gusto.
Yeah, he was good in practice. He's been good. He's been solid the whole race, so he's got a real good truck. Maybe he can get up there and do something with Todd Bodine.
Todd Bodine now almost 2 seconds in front of Ted Musgrave, but Musgrave has taken over the 2nd position. What's going on with Todd, Ray?
Well, Rick, I just want
wanted to add a little bit on tire strategy here. You know, I said it'd be 40 and 40. They pitted on 68, and if they had their way to get a 40-lap run, that means our next pit stops would be at about 118. Then they would go 38 to the end of the race. Let's say we had a long green flag run. But in the garage today, I talked to a lot of drivers who said, if we can work our strategy out, we're going to try to have tires that are ready to go with about a 20-lap run to the end. If you could put tires on with 20 to go, you'd be a lot faster, and that's what these guys are worried about down here. They said, you know what, we hate the idea of having to go 40 at the end of this race, but that's just the way it's going to work out.
Well, Todd Bodine hasn't had too many worries so far tonight. We'll see if he can hold on to the top spot. We'll be right back. Messages. Coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed Channel is brought to you by Chevy, the new Chevrolets, an American Revolution, by Arctic Cat. Arctic Cat's Keep on Rolling sales event is going on now. Visit your dealer today. Arctic Cat. More to go on. And by High Endurance Oils from Noble, official lubricants of NASCAR. Beautiful crowd on hand tonight for great racing in the desert. Las Vegas. Fans enjoying themselves, and if Todd Bodine makes a little bit closer, they'll have a great race to watch here. But Todd Bodine right now almost 3 seconds in front of Ted Musgrave.
I think Todd Bodine would just as soon this be a horrible race. He would love to keep a 3-second lead like he has right now over Ted Musgrave the rest of this race. But, you know, we talked a little bit before the break about tire strategy. Ray was talking about it. You know, Steve Park and the 17 of David Rudiman and the 22 of Bill Lester stayed out on that most recent caution flag, so they should have an extra set of tires than the rest of these trucks right now, so they may be sitting pretty if the cautions fall just right.
And we saw that happen last year, you know, where Shane Mill got tires at the end and he was solid all race long, but he got tires at the end and was able to beat Todd Bodine.
So far, only 2 caution flags have flown. The first one coming on lap 2 when we had a problem with Tracy Hines, and the 12 of Joey Miller also getting caught up in that was the 77 of Brendan Gaughan. They actually red flagged that where they stopped, so no fuel was being wasted there. But then the caution came back out again on lap 67 when Chad Chaffin got spun around. Only 2 cautions so far. The record for cautions, 9 back in 1996 for Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
We're already 88 laps into this race of 146, so there's just a little less than 60 laps to go right now. So these drivers are really on a slick racetrack. They're really using their heads and they're giving each other some room. As we saw the situation, David Rudiman backed out to allow the faster truck to drive by him. Jack Sprague did not take a chance of driving in there side by side, getting Jack Sprague loose on the bottom of the racetrack and maybe taking both of them out. It was a good move to David Rudiman, and these guys are doing a lot of give and take.
Well, there's a lot of race left for those guys, and you got to finish first, before you can win one of these things. So you just got to be smart in those situations, and as I mentioned earlier, David's one of those guys. And you see Todd Bodine there, he's 3 seconds ahead of Ted Musgrave. That's the closest anybody's been able to stay for a long time, and it seems like their lap times have began to stabilize, and Ted Musgrave can hang in there. Some laps he runs about the same speed. Some laps he may be a little bit slower, a tenth, maybe 2/10, but that's the most that we've seen in this run.
Ted Musgrave was able to win this race earlier, and he was on his way to winning in 2002 when he cut a tire and allowed David Starr to be able to take over the top spot. We don't want to bring up negatives for Ted Musgrave, but right now Musgrave currently running in second, and he's the closest competitor to Todd Bodine.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been one of the guys that said that. If something happens, he might. I hope you didn't jinx him.
No. Todd Bodine with a great run. Ted Musgrave also with a great points run tonight. Currently, he would lead Dennis Setzer by 7 points if the race were to end this way.
We're going to see a big turn from what 4 races ago. Dennis had a 227-point lead. We thought it was pretty much all over, and here are the points right here. Dennis Setzer would have a 7-point deficit leaving this racetrack if the race ended right now, but it's not over. There's a lot of racing left to go. Dennis Setzer still is not that first truck 1 lap down. Ron Hornaday is still the first truck 1 lap down. Dennis Setzer desperately either needs the caution to come out and Ron Hornaday get his lap back, so then maybe the next time he needs to get back on the lead lap, because he may be able to pass some of these trucks on the lead lap. They may have made adjustments to that truck to make it better, but right now he's mired back in the 18th position. A big point loss right now if it ended.
continuing to go by the slower lap traffic. That's Robert Presley in the 59 that he gets by. Dennis Setzer in the 46 Chevy Silverado being shown in 18th position, 1 lap down, but he is almost 35 seconds behind our leader, Todd Bodine.
He's racing right behind the number 10 truck of Terry Cook, who's in the 11th position. So Dennis Setzer has a better truck than he had earlier. You see Terry Cook right there. That's the red truck Chevy Silverado. Dennis Setzer right behind him. So Dennis is racing with some better trucks than he was able to race with earlier. But the problem is he's 1 lap down.
Yeah, he desperately needs to get on the lead lap to gain positions.
We saw Ford take their first win of the 2005 season with Rick Crawford. Terry Cook would love to get back to victory lane. It's been quite some time for him. Todd Bodine, it hasn't been that long. He's looking to make it another win in 2005 tonight. Let's take a closer look at the Premier Division of NASCAR in our Nextel Cup update. Point standings as we go through the chase for the championship.
We saw Ryan Newman barely make his way into the chase at the last race of the first 26 at Richmond, but boy, did he make a statement last week with a dominating one. Not a dominating one, had a great battle with Tony Stewart, ended up winning the race at Loudon, moved all the way from 10th up to 3rd in the points. He's actually tied for 3rd with Rusty Wallace, his teammate. But what a terrific job, and he's on the pole for the race at Dover tomorrow, and he won the Busch race today. I think he's peaking at the right time.
Well, he's definitely making a statement. A couple of guys that also make statements are the guys on NASCAR This Morning. That'll be tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, so tune in on Speed Channel for NASCAR This Morning tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. We take a look at the grandstands at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 2 years ago, they added 15,000 seats in the Dale Earnhardt Terrace. Well, now we have the Richard Petty Terrace being added to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. They're adding 17,000 more seats. That is going to open next March for the NASCAR season as it will get underway with the Busch race. So 17,000 more seats in the Richard Petty Terrace.
That was supposed to be a 43, Rick. I apologize for my penmanship there, but that's where the grandstand that Richard Petty Terrace is going to be, and the 43 wasn't very good. I'm sorry.
Now we know why you're not an artist.
Well, Todd Bodine is an artist tonight with that Germain Toyota. About a 4-second lead on Ted Musgrave, but at least we're not seeing it grow by a second a lap. It seems like we saw earlier before the first round of pit stops. Ted Musgrave's got a very, very good truck. He's not quite as fast as Todd Bodine, but we know these fellows are going to make another pit stop, and he may be able to work on this truck and make it a little bit better, maybe stay with Todd Bodine.
Just past 100 laps. Let's take a look through the top 10 as 10 trucks are separated by 20 seconds. Ray.
Todd Bodine is definitely the leader. This is a different chassis than he used to win with earlier this year. Bodine took number 26 to victory lane earlier this year at Kansas City, but tonight he's driving number 51. And right behind him, of course, is Ted Musgrave. Musgrave said they have made this truck better when they had their pit stops, and he said the problem is he just can't get up there to try to get with Todd Bodine. So they're going to try to free this thing up for Ted just a little bit more, just a tiny bit tight for the Mopar Dodge. Wendy?
Jack Sprague's in third. He's been loose in the center. There was discussions just a while ago on the radio on what to do when the next caution, next round of pit stops. They said, track power, maybe air pressure. Jack Sprague came over the radio and said, I think we should just leave it. And Dave Fuge came over and responded, that's the smartest thing you've said all night. Ray?
Hey, Wendy, Mike Skinner has been out front an awful lot this season. 757 laps he's led this year, but tonight he just can't quite get that truck to respond the way he would like to. They were terrible in the first practice today, and then, of course, made it a lot better whenever he went out to qualify. But so earlier today, Skinner not happy with his Tundra. Wendy?
Dave McCarty made the call to bring David Starr down on pit road with all the other front runners, and it was definitely a good call. Dave McCarty always has his Tums on the pit box, and I'm sure he was taking them before. They were only 11 laps on those tires, so it was a tough decision to make. We saw David Rudiman did stay out, and he falls all the way back to 16th. So a good call on David Starr. Ray?
Hey, Wendy, Johnny Benson just made his move, and he went around David Starr on that lap we were talking about him. Now, they've got a set of stickers down here in the pit area to work with, but Johnny just came on the radio and said he is getting a bit of a vibration. So he asked his crew chief, Rick Wren, whether they got all of those lug nuts tight on the last pit stop, and he said, yeah, both guys said everything was cool, so they believe he's going to be all right. bit further, you will come upon Bill Lester. Lester has been having a great run, and on the 1.5-mile tracks, they have been outstanding this season. Bill Lester looking for his first ever win here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Wendy?
How about Tim Fedewa up there in the top 10, Ray? He's running in the 8th spot. Now his best finish in the Truck Series is 19th, so this is a great night for Tim Fedewa. And that team, Glenn Motorsports, has been on a roll. They had a top 5 just last week with Clay Rogers in the truck, Ray.
Well, the problem for Steve Park, Wendy, is they're watching these laps go by, and it's been a long time since he's had the 62 on pit road. And it looks like Steve Park is dropped off of the racetrack. He's coming in here. He said he just can't hang on to that thing any longer because it has just gotten away from him. Now, they pitted, I believe, the last time on lap 63. So here comes Park. He brings the Orleans Dodge into the pit area.
Out in front is still Todd Bodine, setting a blistering pace as he's got almost 5 seconds now between himself and Ted Musgrave. Again, the work being done to the Orleans Dodge of Steve Park. Looks like they're going to put 4 fresh tires on that.
Same situation that Jack Sprague was in earlier. If this race cycles around and everyone has to make green flag pit stops, it will not hurt Steve Park. But if the green flag was to come out right now, it would ruin him. Here comes Terry Cook. He's also coming in a little bit early. He was one of the trucks that pitted back on lap number 68, so he's gone a little bit less than 40 laps. Wendy, what's going on with Terry?
They decided to come down pit road on lap 107. 4 tires, and I don't see any track. Oh, they do make a track bar adjustment on Terry Cook's truck. A risky move to come down pit road. If the caution does come out, it'll be an unfortunate night for Terry Cook, but everything goes smooth as the team is on the left-hand side, and he's down.
Terry Cook taking his Ford back out on pit road. Just behind him, you see the 92 or the 22 of Bill Lester. He's making a pit stop now. Ray.
These guys are going to make an adjustment for Bill Lester. He said it's pretty good on entry, but just a little bit loose in the center. Of course, most of the trucks that we've been listening to tonight down here are saying tight, 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 but Bill Lester just got a little bit loose. He was on pit road around lap 60. They come down at 108. They'll get fuel in there, and they'll go back out. Now, all these guys that just came to pit road are hoping for a continued long green.
And we just saw the Toyota of Johnny Benson going behind the wall. So problems that will end Johnny Benson's night as he was running so well up in the top 10.
What a horrible break for Johnny Benson. It looked like I saw a lot of smoke as he came down off the banking on turn number 4. I don't know if maybe he lost an engine, but whatever it was, it appears to be terminal as he drove it in the garage. See, Johnny, a lot of smoke coming from underneath that truck. That's a little bit of raw fuel burning out of the exhaust, but the smoke is a telltale sign. Unfortunate night for Johnny Benson.
Yeah, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. He's worked so hard, and you hate to see that happen to someone. He had a strong truck tonight. You can see right there the smoke and the shine on his right rear tire. You can see some oil probably came out of the exhaust. Tough break for those guys, but he's a great driver, and I'm sure he'll be back up there. It looks like a caution's out right now.
Third caution of the night comes out. That's the Team Copaxson 02 of Kelly Sutton getting spun around.
Yeah, that's going to be a horrible break for Steve Park in the 62 and the 10 of Terry Cook. In the 99 of Ricky Craven, we didn't talk about him. He pitted under green a few laps ago. So all those trucks that made green flag pit stops now will find themselves probably at least 2 laps down.
Bill Lester, who was having a very strong run.
Exactly right, Hank.
They needed to have a long green run with everybody cycle out just like Jack Sprague did before.
You see Kelly Sutton slowing. Looks like she was trying to get off the track. And then she starts spinning across the back stretch.
Dropped down on the apron, then spun around there right in front of traffic. So NASCAR had to put the caution flag out to warn these drivers about that situation. You see, she just looks like she just drove off the banking. Maybe she got sideways right before we caught that view of that. And here you see her lock the brakes up to keep her from driving across the racetrack, which would have been right in front of the 6 of Ron Hornaday.
So again, our third caution of the night coming out on lap 110, meaning just 36 laps of racing to go. And as you had mentioned, those trucks that came down pit road under green flag conditions are being shown 2 laps down, and really a devastating night for them because they made their final pit stop more or less under green, whereas all of the trucks now on the lead lap, there's 11 of them, will be able to come down under caution and hold their positions.
Bill Lester, I think, may have been the only driver that pitted under green there that was able to stay only 1 lap down. David Ruderman, which was another one of the 3 trucks that stayed out when all the other leaders pitted on the caution flag, he will get the free pass. So a big break for him.
Well, tomorrow on Speed Channel, Formula One, the Brazilian Grand Prix. Only 6 points separate Fernando Alonso from Brayton. Will he become Formula One's youngest champion? Find out tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed Channel. Strong night for the Germain Racing number 30 of Todd Bodine. He's been extremely dominant, already led 80 of the laps that we have run so far out of the 111 laps run. Bill Lester's led the second most laps at 17. Mike Skinner, Steve Park, Ted Musgrave, and Johnny Benson also leading laps here at Las Vegas tonight.
Tough break for Bill there, you know, to come in the pits and then be a lap down like that. I mean, like you said, it can be going so great and then all of a sudden just turn bad.
Here they come. Todd Bodine, Ted Musgrave, Jack Sprague, all coming down pit road. Wendy.
They went over the radio to Jack Sprague and reminded him not to get too close. Don't crowd the pit wall. Nice clean stop on the 16. He's requested no adjustments on Jack Sprague's truck. Just clean the grill and get the tear-off off if you have time, guys. Looks like a pretty routine stop, Ray.
Wendy, exact same thing for the other guys you see on the screen. Not one single adjustment on the Mopar Dodge or the Germain Toyota. These guys are going to have a great race off pit road. We see Sprague has come out of his pit box. The 30 is done. He's away. He is going to be the first one, but Sprague is going to pass Musgrave. He was ahead of him. We'll see who comes across that line first. Sprague was ahead. We'll see. What is it at the line?
You're right, Ray. Jack Sprague was just a nose in front of the one of Ted Musgrave. Now we'll see if Musgrave will actually give him that spot when they get back out onto the track. They ride side by side, which means NASCAR will have to make the decision. We'll find out what that decision is when we come back to the Las Vegas 350. The Toyota Spotlight lets us take a closer look at where the Toyota Tundras are running this evening. Todd Bodine out in front. Skinner third. Another strong run for that team as we get into the latter part of this season.
Brandon Wood having another good run here. Winner earlier this year. He's got the 6th position right now. See, the 62 of Steve Park is going to pull over and let the 22 of Bill Lester pull to the inside, because Bill is actually on the tail end of the lead lap because he stayed out during his caution flag. So he will be able to restart this race in front of our leader, Todd Bodine. What Bill would love to see is for them to run one lap, catch a caution flag, be able to drive all the way back around and get back right in the thick of things here. But again, who knows? Todd Bodine has been so strong.
You know what he's going to do? He's going to go down into turn 1. I see debris. I see debris. There's debris all over the racetrack. We need a caution. So
there's oil. There's groundhogs. There's everything on the racetrack.
Green flag flies. We're back underway. Todd Bodine is our leader. Jack Sprague right behind him. Jack Sprague has 5 top 5 finishes at this racetrack. 4 of them are in the top 2. So Jack Sprague knows how to run around Las Vegas Motor Speedway, currently in 2nd. He has 2 wins at this racetrack. He'd love to make it 3.
See Bill Lester able to pull out in front of Todd Bodine. Remember, he restarted this race on the tail end of the lead lap. You see the red truck right there. Jack Sprague moves to the inside as the 30 of Todd Bodine goes to the outside of the lap truck of Steve Park.
Here comes Jack Sprague around Steve Park as well. Ted Musgrave closing the gap. He sits in 3rd. 4th is David Starr in that Spears Manufacturing Fireguard number 75.
Ted Musgrave's all over Jack Sprague. If anybody can make an adjustment during a pit stop to get their truck, it is Gene Need. He knows what to do, and it looks like he is working on Jack Sprague hard.
He drives to the inside there. He got a great run off turn number 2. He's able to make the pass. Ted Musgrave
takes over 2nd, and as you mentioned, he knows how to make adjustments. In California, we saw them adjust the whole rear end on that truck and come back and win that race.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. So who knows what we'll see tonight.
Hey, let's don't forget about Mike Skinner, the number 5 trip. Remember Art Polster, he tries to work to the inside of David Starr. Not quite able to make it happen that corner, but Mike Skinner's had a great truck. We mysteriously saw him have a bad restart, lose a few positions. He's never quite gotten back up to the lead after that, but he is in the top 5 and he's got a shot at it.
You can see him shooting sparks underneath this truck going through 1 and 2 there. They're just running the truck so low, trying to keep that nose down and keep it aerodynamically correct as best they can. Keep the nose down, make as much downforce on the front of that thing where they can get turning. And that's what shooting those sparks. You see these guys going 3 wide down into turn 1.
See Rick Crawford, the 14 truck on the inside of that 3 wide battle. Here comes Todd Bodine to try to put Bill Lester a lap down. There's Ted Musgrave. He's going to follow Todd Bodine on the bottom of the racetrack there, but Ted Musgrave is able to keep pace with Todd Bodine right now.
Something we have not seen all race. Todd Bodine has been able to run away from the field, but so far he's not able to run away from Ted Musgrave.
There's our point leader right in the middle view screen, the 46 Chevy Silverado, Dennis Setzer. He got by the 12 truck of Joey Miller. That was a position. Dennis Setzer moves up into the 16th position.
You know, he's been in the thick of it all night. He has not had an easy night at all. He's been 3 wide in the middle of everything all night long. So I know at the end of this race, he is going to be worn out.
Points as of now, Musgrave takes over the top spot, just 4 ticks in front of Dennis Setzer.
Dennis is running with some good trucks right now as we go back to our lead battle. Ted Musgrave, he's all over the 30 truck of Todd Bodine. Really gained on him on the second half of the straightaway from the flag stand to turn number 1. He big time gain.
We saw that as he was passing Bill Lester as well. It looked like, I didn't know if it was air that allowed him to pull up. These trucks really seem to have a little bit of a draft even at all these places that are a mile and a half like this, and you're able to pull up on a guy at the end of the straightaway. Looks like Ted's able to gain an advantage there.
A year ago, it was Todd Bodine chasing Shane Meal around this 1.5 mile track, and now it's Ted Musgrave chasing Todd Bodine.
We're inside of 30 laps to go right now, so we've got a great battle on our hands. Again, just like we were going to give Dennis Setzer the championship 4 races ago, we were going to pretty much give Todd Bodine this win just about 10 laps ago.
Looks like Musgrave has turned it up.
As the laps tick away, Ted Musgrave running on the bottom of the track just like Todd Bodine. Ray, how is Ted feeling about his truck?
Well, apparently it's a lot better, Rick. No doubt he hasn't said much on the radio, but, you know, when you look across Ted Musgrave's records, he has 3 wins on 1.5 mile tracks. One of them right here at Vegas. He won at Charlotte and also at Homestead. Now, so far this year, Musgrave's been good on the 1.5 miles. His average finish so far this year on 1.5 mile tracks is 8.4. But there's one truck that's been better than him. Do you know who it is?
Tell us.
Well, of course, it's our point leader, Dennis Setzer. Setzer has a 5.2 average on the 1.5 mile, so it's a little bit surprising to see him back where he is right now, because so far this year, Setzer has been the man, but Musgrave, pretty good.
Well, Dennis Setzer struggling today, though, because he is a lap down to our leader, Todd Bodine. We see Tim Fedewa trying to get by the 6 of Ron Hornaday. He'll make the pass, or almost make the pass, as he goes on the low side. Hornaday having to stay high.
Great run for Tim Fedewa. Hankey's up in the 6th position right now. Remember, we saw that truck finish in the top 5 last week with Clay Rogers. Clay is off running a different series right now. Tim Fedewa steps in this truck, giving it a great ride.
Yeah, Tim's a great driver. He's doing a great job tonight. So he's a good guy. I'd like to see him finish good. He's deserved it tonight because he's been up there all night.
Tim Fedewa in that 65 tonight.
Steve Plattberger is the crew chief on that truck, someone that I used to work with back when I owned my own Busch team. He's a great guy here, and had a great run last week, as we mentioned. Got another good one going.
Coming up on 20 laps of racing to go, and it's Todd Bodine just in front of Ted Musgrave. Is 20 laps too much for Todd Bodine to stay in front? We'll find out when we come back. Bill Lester having such a great run tonight brings out our 4th caution of the night, as he has a right front go down on him and he gets into the wall.
Yeah, as he went in the corner, the truck just took off into the outside wall, and what a horrible break for Bill Lester. Qualified so well, led this race early on.
It went from bad to worse for him. David Rudiman is the last truck on the lead lap, so he'll come in and take advantage of that, get him some tires, make some adjustments to see what he can pick up at the end of this race.
None of the rest of the leaders came down pit road on this caution track. They only had about 12, 13 green flag laps, so they really felt like they needed a track position.
Who will it be in Las Vegas? Todd Bodine, Ted Musgrave, or Jack Sprague? We'll find out next. The lights are shining bright in Las Vegas, and they're shining bright right now on the 30 of Todd Bodine, and a great crowd on hand to watch as Todd Bodine gets ever so closer to his first win at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And they need another grandstand if the crowds are going to continue to come out to watch the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series as they do here at Vegas.
This is an absolute incredible crowd here. I think I've been here for about 5 of these truck races here at Las Vegas, 4 or 5, and this is, I think, by far the best truck crowd I've ever seen.
Well, a year ago, almost 70,000 fans came out to watch the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race that Shane Meal was able to claim the top spot, but they may have outdone themselves this year. The truckers will have a few weeks off. Next race is the Kroger 200 in Martinsville Speedway, and that's not until October 22nd. So 3 weeks of break for these truck drivers.
Gives you a lot of time to think. You know, if you're having a good race or a bad race, Ted Musgrave be thinking about the positive. Dennis Setzer be thinking about what they can do to make it better. I'm sitting here counting all these people. I've only got to 68,000. I'll let you know if there's more here in just a second.
I think it's 71,000. I'm pretty sure I counted.
Well, we'll let these guys continue to count up here, and when we come back, we'll see if we can get an educated guess at the crowd in Vegas. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed Channel is brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And by High Endurance Oils from Mobil, official lubricants of NASCAR. As they come to the green flag, we're back to racing. 13 laps to go. Todd Bodine out in front where he has been most of the night. Ted Musgrave, one of the only trucks to be able to come close to staying with Todd Bodine tonight. We'll see if this restart, Ted Musgrave can get caught up with Todd Bodine.
Very important for Todd Bodine to get a good restart. Looks like Ted Musgrave looked to the outside, not quite able to make it work. Ted Musgrave's going to get right against the rear tailgate.
And get loose.
See them both getting loose. They're driving it as hard as they can in these closing laps. Musgrave had a great start right there. He kind of let him get a little bit ahead and built his momentum and really ran up on him coming up off of turn 2.
3 wide as they go by the start-finish line. That's Rick Crawford on the outside. Steve Park on the inside of that 3-truck wide battle.
Chase Montgomery, the 18 truck right there as Steve Park is driving by. Steve Park came down pit road on this most recent caution flag to get tires. Look at Mike Skinner go for 3rd on Jack Sprague.
Here comes Mike Skinner again, having the pole, his 22nd career pole tonight. Started up front, but wasn't able to hold on to that position. The strongest Toyota tonight has been with 30 of Todd Bodine, and now Skinner drops back and loses the spot to the 75 of David Starr.
David Starr and Tim Fedewa go by keeping the momentum up on the outside, and you let them get by him by trying to pass on the inside.
It looked like Mike Skinner maybe was going to be able to get by the 16 of Jack Sprague. Wasn't quite able to do it. And Hank, as you mentioned, he lost 2 positions in the process. 3 wide again.
That's a chance you take. These guys are giving it all they can give in these closing laps.
Dennis Setzer just got by the 60 of Chad Chaffin. Now a caution, even if it comes out now, the restart wouldn't happen before 10 laps of racing to go. So Dennis Setzer won't get a free pass. He'll end up a lap down unless he was able to race his way back around, which is impossible now under the new rules.
But it was 3 more points. That position he passed Chad Chaffin gave him 3 more points. It moves him up into the 14th position. The first truck 1 lap down.
Man, they're just staying 3 wide. They're 3 wide, double back right there.
See David Rudman, the 17 truck on the inside. He was the only one of the lead lap trucks to come down pit road, put tires on because he was at the very tail end of the lead lap. Unfortunately, he's not able to do him much good right now. He's still being shown in the 12th position.
And up in front of this, we've got Todd Bodine just in front of Ted Musgrave. Now, Musgrave, a few times during this race, we have talked about him taking over the points lead if it were to end that way. Now, the way Dennis Setzer has moved himself up into the position he's in now, which is 14th, the only way Ted Musgrave can lead the point standings is to win this race. He can't do it any other way. If he finishes second to Todd Bodine, he will end up 5 points behind Dennis Setzer, but hey, a great points night for Ted Musgrave.
Well, Rick, Dennis Setzer could lose 2 positions, and then Ted Musgrave would be back in the lead.
That's correct.
But anyway.
They both get an attaboy, that's for sure.
That's right. And Ted Musgrave right now is looking for a win. He's not thinking points probably right now. He's thinking, I want to get that trophy again.
Ted Musgrave can get so low in the center of the corner. He can get his left sides below the white line. I think what he'd like to do is try to get under Todd Bodine right in the center of the corner and try to beat him off the corner. Not quite able to do it this time.
Or at least just get some air off of him, wiggle him a little bit where he can get him out of shape, get him up out of the groove, and let Ted get up beside him.
And the last time he got that close to him, they both wiggled.
Well, Todd Bodine with a faster lap that time than Ted Musgrave, and so Bodine put a little bit more distance between himself and that Mopar Dodge of Musgrave. But with 7 laps to go, you can't ever count out Ted Musgrave.
You mentioned earlier Ted Musgrave looked like he was going to have a sure win about 3 years ago, and he had a flat tire with 2 laps to go. David Starr ended up winning that race, so you never know till it's over.
Todd Bodine with a strong truck tonight, the strongest truck we've seen out of the Toyota bunch.
What a great run Ted Musgrave gets from the flag stand down to the corner. It looks like he's better on the front stretch for some reason than he is on the back stretch. A terrific run from the flag stand on, but Ted Musgrave has to wait for Todd Bodine to maybe make a mistake. He's not making it.
And down the backstretch, Bodine puts a huge distance between them. Now, can the wind play a part in that? Because the wind is blowing in their face when they come down the front stretch.
Well, I think what more is in the front stretch, we have a dog leg, and it gives him more time, more distance to gain on Todd, to be behind him, to use the draft to catch up to him. And then when he does close in on him, when he goes down into turn 1, he tries to make his move. He gets tight up off of turn 2, and the tight condition is the only thing on the exit of the corner that shows up at the end of the corner. At the end of the straightaway, excuse me.
Got back a few truck lengths right there, and he got a pretty good run off turn number 2. He drives right down about 1 truck length behind Todd Bodine in the center of 3 and 4. Does not quite get the run off the corner that he would like. Well, let's see if he can gain on him from the flag stand on.
As they go by the flag stand,
there's Bob Germain right there, owner for that number 30 truck. Don't clap too much now, Bob. This race isn't over.
Looks like he might be a little bit nervous. He might have to go down and get some of those tums, I think, when he was talking about on Dave's toolbox.
6 miles of racing, 4 laps of racing to go. Todd Bodine out in front of Ted Musgrave. Hasn't been able to shake him the past 3 laps, and now Musgrave closing back in on Todd Bodine.
Right below the white line. He's really going to have to set his pass up and make it count. I mean, they're so equal right now. Ted's just going to, he's either going to have to slip the 30, or Ted's going to really have to set his pass up.
3 to go.
Todd running a little bit higher line right there. You see him work by the number 2 truck of Jimmy Spencer. Ted Musgrave is there. He's trying to get underneath that 30 truck.
Ray, is it running good?
Everything's fine, Rick. I just wanted to let you know it's very, very hard to hit a single number on the roulette table. But last night, I'm not joking and I'm not making this up, Todd Bodine won by placing the number 30 on roulette 7 times last night on a table. The number 30 was the big winner last night.
Well, we'll see if the 30 is a big winner tonight. He just got loose with Ted Musgrave all over the back of that number 30 Toyota.
Todd Bodine is working that mirror really hard right now. Ted Musgrave's trying to get him loose, trying to get right up underneath that truck. He's under him.
Musgrave on the inside. Here he goes for the pass as they go down the backstretch side by side. Musgrave on the inside, Bodine on the outside, and Musgrave takes over the top spot.
Talk about taking a point lead. Well, he just took the point lead right there from Dennis Setzer. If he can hold on.
Ted Musgrave out in front of Todd Bodine, and the caution flag will come out.
You know what that means.
This is green, white, checkered. And that is the 62 of Steve Park that we see stopped. The caution flag comes out before the white flag comes out, meaning green, white, checkered will have 1 chance at a green, white, checkered finish. And the flames starting to come out from underneath the 62. You see Steve Park getting a little bit more frantic as he wants to get out of that truck.
See a lot of damage to the rear of that truck. Undoubtedly, he's backed in the wall. Somewhere on the racetrack, Steve's going to be able to get out pretty easily. Looks like the fire is contained pretty much underneath the truck. Steve gets out and kicks the fire.
That's a little frustration right there. He had a strong truck tonight. It just didn't work in his favor.
Disappointing night for the Orleans team, who are based just virtually on the track grounds. Brendan Gaughan getting caught up early on in an accident. And almost ending his night. And then they had engine problems, not only from practice, but also later on in the race. They thought they lost another motor, and now Steve Park, who was running so well earlier, brings out our 5th caution of the night. So we will have green, white, checkered in Las Vegas. We'll see who's the big winner tonight. Las Vegas 350 on Speed Channel, and Ted Musgrave could be the big winner in Sin City tonight. Caution flag out for the 62 of Steve Park. His truck making hard contact with the inside wall in the backstretch, ending their night early.
I think Ted realized that his truck was good through 1 and 2. We saw him keep trying to make that pass, and he really set that pass up so that he could get that run. If he would have stayed on the inside, you could see in the back of the picture there that Jack Sprague was coming through there pretty quick. So if he would have got bottled down on the bottom, he could have lost a position instead of gain. He set that pass up perfectly and got in front of him. Instead of just, running side by side down a whole straightaway, he made the pass in one corner, which is very important here.
That's true. Another green-white checkered in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Ray, I think you've got some more information on green-white checkers.
Well, I try to keep track of them, Rick, and we've run 261 races. We've had 55 green-white checkers. Actually, tonight's race 262 in this series. But when it comes to green-white checkers, Ted Musgrave has been very good. He's been involved in 4 of them. In those 4 races, he's won 3 and finished second just one time. Now, as far as Todd Bodine, he hasn't been around for as many races. He has 1 win and 2 second-place finishes when it comes to green-white checkers. So maybe you can interpret from that Ted Musgrave has the advantage.
Well, I would say most definitely Ted Musgrave has the advantage right now because he's in front of Todd Bodine.
Right. But so important for Ted Musgrave to get a good restart. Just as we said on the last restart, it was so important for Todd Bodine to have a good restart. He was able to get one, stay ahead of Ted Musgrave, but Ted was able to work his way by him. But the restart is when Ted Musgrave is going to be the most vulnerable on this green-white checker finish, I think.
Well, lurking back there in 3rd, almost like a shark pacing back and forth, that is Jack Sprague. Sprague has a win, a second, a win, a second, a second, and a 5th. His first 5 races at this racetrack.
Not too bad.
6 races.
Yeah, not too bad.
Do my math.
5 top 2 finishes. How about a great run for Tim Fedewa? Here, what's his best career finish here? Like
19th.
19th.
Here.
I mean, in the truck series, he's only run a handful of races. But 19th place finish was his best, and here he is running in the top 5, and that would be 2 weeks in a row for Glenn Motorsports. Lariat Construction, you see, that's Scott Glenn's company. They do a lot of framing of houses in the Phoenix area. His construction company said, hey, my construction company allows me to do this. They said, I might as well put him on the truck one time anyway.
Well, they've been, as you had mentioned, having some very good showings as of lately, not only with Clay Rogers, but also with Tim Fedewa.
Solid all night, so good job for Tim Fedewa.
David Starr also with a great run, currently in the 4th position, just in front of Tim Fedewa. So, very solid run for the Spears Manufacturing 75.
Yeah, David was worried about it at the beginning of the race. He wasn't sure how his truck was going to be. He's just talking about how slick the track was, and they were going to make some changes. So, good job on those changes.
Back just outside of the top 5, Mike Skinner, our pole sitters in 6th. Todd Cleaver's having a great run. We haven't talked a whole lot about Todd. He's right now in the 7th position. Here's first time ever here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Bobby Hamilton has soldiered on, has a pretty good run going. He's got an 8th place run right at this moment. Rick Crawford, our most recent winner at Loudon last week, is running 9th. And Brandon Whitness stayed in the top 10. A good run for him.
Flashing lights have gone away on the pace truck, meaning that we're inside of 1 lap from the restart. And we were talking a little bit about David Starr. What have you got, Wendy?
There's definitely mixed emotions when we know we're going to have a green-white checkered finish, and that's what happened with the 75. They kind of cracked a smile, but they're ready for the green-white checkered finish. A little funny communication going on the radio. They said, man, you have to be hungry if you're going to get this win, and David Starr said, oh, I'm hungry enough. They joked around about eating beans and weenies, and they're ready for some steak here in Vegas tonight.
Well, not often do they have the Flame Guard paint job on the 75, but when they do, it seems to prove pretty beneficial for the 75 and David Starr.
A lot of good places to get a steak in Las Vegas, so this would be a good place to win. And I believe if he won, he could go get him a steak if he wanted it.
I think so, too. He's had a great run all night.
Gene Need pacing on pit road.
He is near his pit. There's a lot of times when he's pacing way away, you see him walking away. He's probably walking away from our cameras. Truthfully, is what he's doing. Here
Ted
we go.
Musgrave.
2 laps to settle it, Rick.
Musgrave with 1 win so far on the season, and that was at Gateway, where it was a dominant performance. Let's see if Ted Musgrave can steal one away from the dominant truck today, and that was Todd Bodine. The restart, and we are 2 laps away.
Pretty good start. Yeah, pretty good start for Musgrave. He's got about a truck length lead over Todd Bodine. Let's see if he can get cleanly through 1 and 2 here. A lot of times you get a lot of buildup on the tires. They don't handle that well, but looks like both of those trucks are pretty good through 1 and 2. They drove away from the 16 truck of Jack Sprague. There's a good battle. 16 Jack Sprague, 75 of David Starr. David Starr looks to the inside of Jack Sprague, trying to get up beside him. Looks like he's...
Jack Sprague into the wall. David Starr coming on as he tries to get by Jack Sprague, and they're almost nose to tail as they go 1 and 2. First and second, Ted Musgrave just in front of Todd Bodine. The sparks now flying out of the 16 of Jack Sprague. Damage to that number 16. And here comes Todd Bodine. He takes over the top spot from Ted Musgrave. Bodine with the powerful truck tonight has taken over the lead as they go down the backstretch. Now just 3 and 4 separate Todd Bodine from the checkered flag. And as he comes out of turn 4, Todd Bodine will win the Las Vegas 350.
Side by side for third. Looks like David Starr got third.
We got a spin on the front stretch right here coming to the checkered flag, guys.
Chad Chapin spinning across the infield. But how about Jack Sprague after drilling the wall, sparks flying from underneath that truck, battling back side by side with David Starr.
That was a great battle for the third position. But how about Todd Bodine here? He was able to get by Ted Musgrave in turns 1 and 2 on the very last lap.
Todd Bodine with his 2nd win of 2005. He last won at Kansas earlier this year. Todd Bodine leading 114 laps tonight. Now here they are coming through 1 and 2. Todd Bodine in 2nd.
Ted Musgrave right on the bottom of the racetrack. He slides up in the center. Looks like he got a little bit of a push, Hank, and Todd just drove by him on the outside.
Looks like Todd laid back and really got to the gas really early and just really passed him coming up off, and looked like Ted must have gotten tight or loose. He just slid up the track, lost his momentum, allowed Todd to get by.
Todd Bodine coming in front of this very impressive crowd at Las Vegas, and he will celebrate this win. We'll be back to see him in victory lane. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is presented by Craftsman. Take a look at the Mobil 1 move of the race, and what do you guys think this might be?
Would you think it might be Todd Bodine passing Ted Musgrave on the last lap? We're not sure exactly what happened to Ted Musgrave. Looked like he just never got back to the throttle. He had to chase his truck up the hill, and Todd just drove by him on the outside.
He was in the gas early. Really got a good exit to that corner and made it work.
Green-white checkered finish in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and all of the fans, nearly 71,000 is what we're hearing, were on their feet watching as Todd Bodine claims the Las Vegas 350. Take a look at the unofficial results. Ted Musgrave coming home in 2nd.
Great third place finish for David Starr. Bobby Hamilton closed with a 5th place finish there, gained 2 or 3 spots on that last green-white check.
Tim Fedewa lost some big positions there in that jumble on that last deal, but still a good run for him.
Steve Park had trouble right at the end of the race there. He ended up finishing the 30th.
Points leader was a lap down, finishing in 14th position. We'll take a look at the points through 20 races in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Dennis Setzer only 5 points in front of Musgrave.
That was a big last lap pass for Ted Musgrave, getting past her. The difference between getting past and not getting past is a point lead and a trophy.
Well, and Ron Hornaday was 3 points a little bit better than Dennis Setzer. Now let's go down to victory lane, and Todd Bodine climbing out of that truck.
The Onion was awfully lucky last night when the number 30 hit a bunch of times on the roulette wheel, and tonight he's lucky once again. Come on out of there, Todd. Congratulations, win number 4, the 6th win this season for Toyota. A dominant truck tonight, but those last couple of laps we were worried about you.
Yeah, I was worried too. I tell you, I screwed up so bad. let Teddy get on me. I had a little breakaway, and I messed up. He got right up on me, got me loose, got by. I finished second here last year. I was not going to finish second again. Our Tundra was unbelievable. The longer it ran, the better it got compared to the field. Just an unbelievable truck. Mike Sr., Mike Jr., this crew has got to be the best in Truck Series history. They're awesome.
A good week on the tables and a good week here at this racetrack. How are you going to celebrate?
We're going to celebrate big tonight. Last time we won Kansas City, we didn't really celebrate. We all went home, went back to work. That's what this team's about, but I'm going to make sure they celebrate tonight. We got a lot of people here. Oh, boy. I just want to say hey to Robbie McCarthy. He's got hurt in a motorcycle. Charlie Wilson, he's a good friend of ours. Our prayers are with him and his wife. And for Toyota.
How did you pass Musgrave? Were you sure you were going to be able to do it?
Well, I spent that whole caution to think of different scenarios and what was going to happen. And I really didn't know what was going to happen because Teddy was so good. But I knew once I got behind, it would tighten up enough where I could get some grip. And he just got down in there and slipped, and I drove it to the outside. And our truck was awesome out there.
Congratulations, Todd Bodine, back to victory lane.
Dominant truck for Todd Bodine tonight, leading 114 laps on this a little bit longer race tonight. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And welcome back to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Standing by with second place Ted Musgrave is Wendy Venerini.
We thought Ted Musgrave was going to make it 2 wins at Las Vegas. Tell us about that last lap pass.
I was a sitting duck, Wendy. I was a little tight, and we know why we couldn't fix it all night. So Todd could really rotate through the center. I knew it was coming, but it made a good show for the fans and everybody else at home. We all tried, but like I say, it was inevitable. It was going to happen. But like I say, if we kept running, I may have got him back, but too late.
Good run for you, and hopefully this helps in the points. He's only 5 points behind Dennis Setzer now.
Ted Musgrave looking for his first ever NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series championship. Also for Jim Smith. He's been in the series since it started, but yet to win a championship. Todd Bodine had the dominant truck today, started in third, was able to come home and take win number 2 on the season for him and career win number 4. Todd Bodine leading 114 laps. A dominant performance. I want to thank Hank Parker Jr. for joining us this season, and we'll see you next at Martinsville.